Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Thursday to you and your family. We're taking a look here, of course, at Atom, Cosmos, whatever, what have you. Really just trying to understand best practice, big picture, see if it's going to continue to, move on its uptrend right now. It's doing very well today, contrary to Bitcoin selling off and kind of retracing. So likely a fundamental catalyst, but regardless, we're going to take a look at the technical to kind of see what happens, previous trends, positive, potentially negative factors that we want to look at, of course. If you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, I love teaching people to trade. I certainly hope you can learn something here today, of course. That's my goal and my passion. I've been trading for over 15 years, closer to 17 now, and I just love teaching people to trade. And being a trader is a lot of freedom. It's a really awesome life. So in that sense, what is helpful is to make sure that you are a sound sound body, sound mind when you're trading. And those are things I teach in my trading academy. So again, CryptoCache.tech is a website, link in the description below. Check that out in your own time. A lot of folks coming over right now to kind of learn as much as they can in this downtrend, of course, because Bitcoin is not confirmed to the upside yet. All right, so we got a lot of things there. I mean, obviously, if you're interested and curious what Bitcoin does, I cover that every single day. Check that out in your own time. But once again, CryptoCache.tech is a site. I also offer signals for the trades that I take. Those are fully automated through Cornix, as well as, of course, I have a trading community, and we all learn and grow together. We meet, every other week or so, and have these roundtable discussions. Really awesome experience. So check that out again in your own time. So here's where we're at with Atom. First of all, I have Fibonacci retracement pulled up from a couple days ago. We're leaving that here because today's one-day candlestick hasn't closed yet. You don't need to adjust until the new day is started. But that being said, we are getting closer to 70 on the RSI, so a pullback could very well happen. Okay, and again, no guarantees on that. I like to say that because RSI, you never want to base your your trades specifically on relative strength index, but it does tell us that we're getting closer to overextension, and essentially, if we see this, if we can identify that we're on an over-exhaustive state, just say with TD sequential, for example, on smaller time frames, then we can have a good chance of understanding, hey, the price will probably turn around here. It's been moving this direction for X amount of hours, and it doesn't make any sense for it to be here. All right. We also want to look at healthy continuation patterns, if there are any, and see if this will continue to maintain itself. But just telling you right now, RSI is overextended, and of course we've got this pretty significant convergence on the MACD. Those things will eventually come to a head. All right. One thing to note though, and this is a very positive thing, mostly positive here in the overall sense, is that we have higher lows that are still being established. Okay, so as long as this next low doesn't come any lower than the most recent, somewhere in the range of $8, then we should be in good shape. All right, so again, that's just generally what we're looking at there. So let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour and kind of peek at some of the things I'm talking about here as far as where we're at. So first things first, we can see this nice little resistance level that just got broken, in fact, within the last 4 hours. So sometime in the last 4 hours, we saw the price push really hard to get up past 1078. Or you could say 1080, maybe as a round number. Right at 1080, you can see this point of contention where the price action got rejected twice, came back down to try again, essentially. Okay, so you could say this is a significantly large cup and handle pattern. I think that's a bit of a stretch. But honestly, you could tell where there's a retest and it broke through that level. So what that just implies for us is a simple fact that this could very well be a support level moving forward. Okay. So even though it'd be like, it's tempting to open a short trade with Atom right now, if you're to do that, just be cautious and make sure that your profit targets are above 1080 so you can at least get filled and possibly be able to get out with a trailing stop loss that adjusts when you hit your targets. That's what we use in our community. We use a moving target 2 or 1, depending on the time frame of the year. And what that does is just as soon as you hit target 1 or 2, it'll adjust your trailing stop loss to break even to ensure that if it turns right around on you, you still get filled at 50, 60, 70, 80% of your first position target. Okay, so again, that's kind of what we're looking at there. Just some friendly advice, but generally speaking, looking at some of the other standard stuff, we can see we're testing 70 on the RSI again as well on the 4-hour. So again, the likelihood of the price action shooting up from here is fairly low based on that sentiment alone. Okay, so keep in mind, this is an overextension, and it should and likely could come back down at least somewhat, perhaps at least to 1080 to essentially consolidate. All right, it's really common for the price action to retest the previous resistance level as a support before it continues upwards. Okay, so just pay attention to that as well. But generally speaking here, we've got some, again, conflicting information. We see, on the daily, we have a handful of things that are telling us that it's likely going to continue higher. but a few that are telling us it's going to come down. This tells us right here we have a strong MACD convergence, which is typically in most cases a decent, buying opportunity. But we've got the conflicting information here where the RSI is peaking out and overextended. So do you really want to invest in something that's overextended and is considered to be overpriced? Probably not. That's essentially where we're at right now. So again, adding to your position right now, if you believe in Atom and the long-term big picture fundamentals, by all means, it's going to probably continue to go higher, as it's proven to do very well, contrary to Bitcoin's lack of success in the recent past. But on the same accord, you got to be realistic. If you're just kind of day trading or short-term swing trading, there may not be a lot of meat left on this bone. Okay, so just bear that in mind. But again, key takeaway here: higher lows are still being established. Until it breaks that trend, we can expect it to continue. In fact, we could probably even go ahead and draw a trend line here, and you can see it's already hit 3 different sections. And that's important. So it's something I recognize too. People are asking, what is confirmation of a trend line? Well, it's usually 2 or more points in which there's an intersection or consistency remaining above that trend. But when you have a third, that kind of reaffirms it even more. Okay. So again, this is a very positive sign. I would say more positive than negative on the 4-hour for Atom. But on the same accord, we got to be realistic in the sense that we got to be cautiously optimistic. This push up here was not super healthy. In the sense of the fact that it's not a staircase pattern. I prefer the price action to kind of do one of these where it kind of just went up like this. A lot of times it'll come right back down if you do that. Bitcoin moving to the downside also concerns me a little bit, but the fact that this is actually doing very well contrary to Bitcoin's actually doing the exact opposite, speaks highly of Atom and tells us that it's mostly independent of Bitcoin. So it almost doesn't matter right now what happens with Bitcoin. As long as it's not a super, super strong sell-off and we don't lose to, say, 22,000, then we're probably in pretty good shape here for Atom to kind of maintain itself right at the current price action. So it would make sense for the price to kind of go sideways from here. It should likely leg up from here, though, based on the overall sense of the fact that this is a support level now, and we have a handful of other factors that are positive. With that convergence on the MACD, for example, it's just that when we see RSI at 70 on on the 1 day and the 4-hour, that tells me that we are overextended. Let's take a look at exhaustion as well and see if there is a case in point where we're overexhausted. Big surprise, we hit a 9 here, we're in 2 hours of overtime. So again, the likelihood of it continuing higher is pretty low. You take a look at any time Atom hits 9s, it turns around almost every single time. Okay. Again, it spiked up here, of course, for a little bit extra, a little push to the upside, which we saw here so far, but a downside is more likely for Atom at this point. Okay, so hypothetically, you took a position right now as a short. I would recommend a target like 1080, 1081. Get your extra 2% or just say 10x leverage at 20%. Get in and get out. All right. Obviously, set multiple profit targets and see if you can continue to go lower. But generally speaking, we should expect this to work as a support level, but we also should not expect the price action to go much further from here. All right. So that's generally what where we're at here for the moment. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just it is what it is. I feel like we're overextended, and those are typically cases in point where I like to short, especially if we're overextended to the upside. We are above the cloud, though. Keep this in mind, and conversion lies above the baseline. It really doesn't give us any confirmation that a short position is 100% viable, right? So again, more conflicting information. I know it kind of sucks. There's no definitive line in the sand that we need to go one way or the other, but I mean, let's put the cards together. We've been overextended for the last 10 hours to the upside, and we're also overextended on the relative strength index on the larger time frames. Those things all combined together does lead me to believe that we should expect the price to come back down, at least again to 1080 or so. All right, so just some friendly advice there. That's kind of where we're at there for Atom. Hopefully that makes sense, and I described this correctly. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me here. If you want to become a better trader, once again, CryptoCache.tech is the website, link in the description below. Look forward to working with you. I do offer discounts for military and third world countries as well. Feel free to message me and let me know if you have any questions. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.